down. Feel the ebb and flow. Please get sucked out to sea. I wonder where you are, 'cause you know I take these things kinda extra hard. This back and forth will take me anywhere I need to be. I can't need you anymore. Out there, you're on your own, and I can't need you anymore. They say all good things must end, but it's been too long since I've seen one again. It's over now, you played your role, now it's time to dissipate. May not get very far, let's be honest, I will never be a star. Holding on, take me anywhere I need to be. Take a good look, 'cause I'll be gone. I can't need you anymore. Out there, you're on your own, and I can't need you anymore. Tell me I'm wrong. Anything to make it easier. Keep your secret songs, 'cause I can't hear them anymore. Tell me when it's all done. Take these memories and burn them all, one by one. 'Cause it's not fair to keep holding on. I can't need you anymore. You're out there, you're on your own, and I can't need you anymore. 'Cause it's not fair to keep holding on. Take your words back home, back away nice and slow. Feel the ebb and flow. Please get sucked out to sea.
Hello.
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 Hey, everyone's on at once.
Okay.
Yes.
I already got 9 people in the hood.
Good. I just sent out a buddies chat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having trouble logging into Twitch, but I'm in the important places. Hello, Murphac. How are you? Good.
I had trouble getting the stream going on Twitch myself, but I think that's because of a problem that they had this last month.
Oh.
Okay. No audio?
Can you hear me?
Oh, well, this is over Skype, so it's a different thing. Somebody just mentioned in the hood that they weren't getting audio.
Oh.
So let me make sure.
Oh, she's saying it was muted.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, Twitch apparently got hacked a month or 2 ago, and that caused them to reset a number of things, so that may have been why we couldn't log in as easily this time.
Oh. Yeah, I'm getting the login box, and I typed in my username, password, and clicked the thing at the bottom, and now it's just hanging in midair and nothing's happening.
According to the window that I have up with Twitch, I'm seeing me, so... Yeah, it says I'm running anyway. Of course.
Well, yeah, it says you're streaming.
Of course,
And
I've got a thing.
You.
Yeah, and you're hearing me through Skype, so.
Well, I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear you on the computer. Okay.
Twitch too.
Yeah.
Had to mute it.
Say, I've got a little window over here in my broadcasting software, though, that says Twitch is offline.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting through, obviously, so.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about Facebook. No, it says sending data. Well, I'm going to go ahead and ignore that one for the moment. If I open up my web browser and go to Facebook, and videos. Yeah, I don't know if I'm running on Facebook. See, what time is it? 11:50.
10:50. Well, tea time.
Okay.
Now I'm getting a successful login message from Twitch. And I don't think I'm logged in. Oh, there, I'm in.
Okay. Where?
I was just going to ask them if they could identify what that picture is.
Well, these definitely can now.
Yeah. The birds are on, Frobus.
Yeah, showing 23 logged in. Well, that's strange. Okay, I just missed it. Darlene Watson is on with us, and Baron 3D over on the stream. Say, Darlene Watson, in addition to being Richard A. Watson's mother, is probably my biggest fan over on Facebook. Say, she always comments on artwork and things I put up. Spatial K is asking, is Darlene using the computer you repaired? So, Darlene, are you on that notebook right now? She says, yes, yes I am. Kay, I always do a good job. Well, good enough to where I'm the last computer repair business still open within about a 30-mile radius of the town I'm in. There goes. And I just turned off the music, so it's time for announcements.
Well, I was having a little bit of a coughing attack. Sorry about that. Welcome, everyone, to our 23rd Cavern Tour. I was trying to make coffee at the same time. Today we're going to be going to Ahnonay. And next month, you know what, I'm going to have to take a quick break. Larry, can you take over? I'm still coughing. Sorry about that.
We'll wait.
Okay.
I was just asking a question anyway, so I may as well answer it verbally. Quicksilver was asking me what I thought of Windows 11, and it's basically what I think of pretty much every other operating system that Microsoft puts out. I'll wait for Windows 12 if there is one, because as near as I can tell, the same people who gave us Windows 8, which was a dismal failure, are trying again with Windows 11. They're putting in a number of things that nobody asked for that they had in Windows 8. And they changed the start menu again. It's basically, you press the start button and you get a pop-up window that looks a little bit like the Windows 8 start menu, except without the live tiles. So in fact, I read an article the other day that said that Microsoft is already planning a revision to do more with that particular start menu. Also, it's the same old story. The early version of an operating system is always bug-ridden, and the Windows 11 is definitely that. I'm reading a lot of complaints online about how often the thing messes up. So if you're going to get a new computer, and if you do, you'll be forced to get Windows 11. I would wait a few months for them to work out some of the bugs first. Me, I'll stick with Windows 10. Some of the things that Susan was talking about. This is the 23rd Cavern Tour, and it's also the second to last of the ones that will be running with a live, in game, because we've just about covered all of the available ages that we can show you online. If I do any more, they will be stream only for a while. Spatial K, what was that version after XP everyone hated? That was Vista. They called it Vista because it was their view of the way computer technology was going to go, and it turned out they needed glasses. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying a moment ago while we're waiting for Susan to come back. There's a couple. Next month will be the official end of the this season. We'll have covered everything that was on the schedule. I might do a couple of side tours of things like ages from Myst 5, but I'm not certain that I will yet. In any case, I expect that we'll probably take at least a month off after that, and then just figure out whether or not we're going to start up another season right away, or wait, or go on hiatus for a while. We haven't talked it over yet. Here we go.
I think I'm back.
Yep. I hear you anyway.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So yes, this is our penultimate regular tour. Larry might do an additional special edition.
Well, next month.
Which is, after next month.
Yeah. I mean, next month is our last official tour.
Right.
Yeah.
So everyone, if you can please make sure that you have Mirabot buddied. In order to do that, you type add buddy. I'll type it in chat here. In order to buddy Mirabot, does everyone have Mirabot buddied? During the tour, Larry will be having breaks to take questions and comments. He and I will also be monitoring the chat in Moolah, as well as the chat in Twitch. We'll do our best to make sure he answers all your questions. We're going to be doing a lot of traveling today. And is it 32319? Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm a little off my game this morning. So does anyone have any questions before we go?
Oh, there was one other thing I was going to say. For those who aren't on Facebook, this is actually something of a landmark today. A number of months ago, I had been promised by Ryan Warcheka that they were going to look at my tours, give me some edits and additional information with an eye towards making the tours officially sanctioned by Cyan. Today is this tour is the first one where I've actually gotten feedback from them. So I actually have a few things. This tour will be at least 90% accurate as for everything that I say being truthful. instead of just guesses. And I've got a few tidbits I got from them that I never knew before, and I don't think anyone else did either. So in that respect, this is a very special tour.
Another important thing to mention is since Ahnonay, we're going to be traveling a lot. If you happen to become separated from the group, all you have to do is PM Find Larry or Find Susan to Mirabot, and you will be instantly linked to us. And if you happen to be falling through the age, just PM W to Mirabot, and you will be instantly warped to wherever Mirabot is. So Larry, we ready to go?
Just one question to answer. Shiloh O'Brien was asking, will you be revisiting other tours with appropriate edits? And next season, I am hoping that they'll have the time to get back to me, and therefore every script will be vetted by Cyan before the tour begins. But we'll have to wait and see because, like I said, I had to wait months before they finally gave me this one. So anyway, at this point, I think we are ready to go.
Yes, let's PM the word link to Mirabot. Oh, to answer Charlotte's question, though, don't you have several months archived in YouTube?
I didn't see that question. What was it?
Well, he's saying, will you be revisiting other tours?
No. He meant with edited scripts from Cyan.
Okay. Oh, I see. From Cyan. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't have any other. None of the others have been commented on yet. So with that, at this point, this is the only one I've got that I now know is accurate. But next tour season, I'll be resubmitting the scripts, and hopefully I'll get comments on time for them.
Okay, we've only got one straggler here in the hood.
Okay, and they should be able to hear what's going on through the stream anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Ahnonay is an age that was written sometime in the Denis century 9300. That would have been the early 1700s on the surface. It was the work of Kadesh, a former guild master of the Guild of Writers. He made it in an attempt to convince visitors that he was the grower, a person prophesied in a book called Words that had been written by a prophet who called himself the Watcher. The Watcher wrote Words in the Denis year 4500, which would have been 3157 BC on the surface. I like to say that the age was Kadesh's grand attempt to prove that sometimes you can fool all of the people all of the time. The name of the age literally translates as water root, but in many place names, the word for root seems to imply the source of something, so it might also be possible to translate it as water source. The age itself consists of a hole with water flowing down on all sides. There are undefined voids above and below that give it an overall shape similar to an hourglass. It's not known where the water comes from or where it goes, or even if this is an isolated section of a much larger world, although that's likely given the limitations that Denis writers were obliged to follow. We are currently standing in what's called the Cathedral. Kadesh was fascinated by words and believed that he could fulfill the predictions and become the grower spoken of in its pages. To that end, he wrote Ahnonay as a means of convincing other Dani that he could control time. Specifically, he wanted them to think that he could link them into the past, present, and future. Kadesh created a quest which he called the Path of the Shell and challenged his guests in the Great Tree Pub to solve it. The quest tied together 3 of his properties: the pub, the Ahnonay Cathedral, and Ahnonay itself. It's probable that Kadesh never told anyone the real name of Ahnonay because he wanted them to believe it was Gartanay, the Dani homeworld. The object of the Path of the Shell was to get the great tree sculpture that was overlooked by a balcony in the pub. As of the fall of Dani, no one had ever solved the puzzle, although many had tried. Back before the founding of Dani, the Ahnonay discovered that Gartanay was becoming uninhabitable for reasons that are not clear, although there are theories that its sun was dying. In Ahnonay, Kadesh implied that the planet was shattered. Since there was no sign of a sun in his destroyed version of Ahnonay, there may be something to the idea that the sun was dying. Yisha strongly identified with Kadesh because she believed they had much in common. She too was attempting to fulfill the prophecies in words, and she used several of his ages and buildings in the quest she created for explorers. Yisha appropriated the Path of the Shell and left clues in the form of numbers scattered around his properties. The numbers referred to verses in words. If one put together the right verses, they gave a clue how to solve the spiral puzzle on the 2nd floor of the Great Tree Pub. The spiral puzzle had been built by Kadesh as part of his version of the path, but he didn't give any clues about how to solve it. The DRC called this area the Cathedral because of its architecture, not because it had any religious purpose. It's a different age than Ahnonay. Dani linking had practical restrictions on how it worked, and one of those restrictions was that a person couldn't link directly from one place to another in the same age. Because of that, Kadesh made the cathedral as a waypoint for visitors to pass through while visiting different parts of Ahnonay. It's unknown whether there is a world outside the cathedral, because there is no entrance or exit except by linking book. The only clue that we have about the outside is that it appears to involve a lake or pond. The building itself rises out of a pool of water, with more water flowing in channels down the walls. The walking surface is a catwalk that's suspended above the pool of water, and it's covered by independent arches that cross over it that are spaced several feet apart from each other. As you walk along the corridor, note the gear and 4-sphere symbol that's common in Kadesh's properties being featured prominently in the decoration of the hall. You'll be seeing those patterns again. Do we have any questions about the cathedral?
Those patterns are also present in other ages as well, aren't they? Like Eater Chemo?
Yes, actually, I kind of wonder if Kadesh wasn't inspired and co-opted that symbol, because you will find it in several places in garden ages, such as the floors of the gazebos. The thing about it is that makes me wonder if it existed before, is because of how worn they are. If Kadesh or Yisha had placed those there, they should have been fresher. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I should have noticed that. I was
Yep.
making sure everyone was here. Who's logged in?
Okay. Yep. It's not like we've actually gone any place really except for... Do we have any insight into Kadesh's motivations? Did he believe his own press, or was he trying to play the grower for other gain? Was he a true believer or a con man? And Spatial K asks, is Kadesh that skeleton that we find in Tolessa? And the answer to K's question is yes, that's Kadesh. And yes, he strongly believed in the prophecies of the grower. And his desire to be the grower was a common one. Many Denis actually had that desire, which the last Denis that we know of who actively tried to be the grower was Escher. So his attempts to fulfill the prophecy was an attempt to become recognized and to be the grower. So the fact that he did it by sleight of hand was because those were the methods that he had available. But I do believe that he did indeed believe that he could become the grower if he fulfilled the prophecies by whatever method he had.
The grower of what, Larry?
The grower is a title of a person who was going to save Denis and resurrect it to new glory. At the time of Kadesh, there actually wasn't any lack of life in Denis. But things were, they'd been there for many thousands of years, and it was getting worn out. To give you an example, when we visited Urkana, we were talking about the fact that it was Kadesh's attempt to get the lake algae working on a proper cycle again, and to make it become as bright as it had historically. And that was a real problem. It was getting darker and darker in the cavern and they were losing the 30-hour day-night cycle because of that. So okay, now I've lost my train of thought. But anyway, he was definitely doing his best, and to save Denis in certain ways. Bringing light back to the cavern by renewing the algae was one of them. So he wasn't... Kadesh was popular. When he bought and renovated the Watcher's Pub, it became an extremely trendy hangout for the upper classes of Denis society. And the fact that they all flocked to him, I believe, is that he truly was a likable and decent man. But his methods were those of a con man. K.A. is asking, can you fulfill a prophecy by making the effort to fill in the blanks, cross the T's, and dot the I's? Seems like that if you're making a point to fulfill the prophecy, you aren't. The thing of this is that It seems like pretty much everyone involved with Denis believed that you could. And that Kadesh certainly did. Escher was trying to do so by harnessing the power of the Baro, and Yisha did exactly the same thing. She tried to show that she was the grower by doing exactly that, making an effort to fill in the blanks. She was given the nickname Little or Desert Bird, which is a line from words. That nickname appears in it. And I have to wonder if Atris had read words and deliberately gave her that nickname because of it. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Say, you can take a look around, but there's not really an awful lot to see, and there's certainly nothing outside to see. So the only thing that you might want to do is take a look. If you've never looked up while you're in the corridor, I suggest you do that because it's an interesting building.
This globe at the end, is this a spy camera or just a lamp?
Just a lamp. There's one at either end.
Is this whole building underwater, or is it just water beneath us?
That's not something that I can answer. But there doesn't seem. But if you look up, you don't see any sign of a water table. So it's entirely possible that. Now there is definitely under the catwalk we're standing on. There is definitely a pool of water that the walls of the building rise out of. So I suspect that the water we see flowing in the channels down the wall is just being pumped up from below us. So if there's one thing about Kadesh, he liked to build on a grand scale. Say the fact that he built monolithic architecture just on the path to his piggy bank in Kadesh Telesa. Say the man had the money and he wasn't afraid to spend it to impress.
And the gallery's elaborate as well.
Mm-hmm. Murfak, anytime you're ready, let's go ahead and transfer over to Ahnonay.
Everyone hold on to your hats. Larry, I don't see your huge coffee mug.
Oh, I've been making its appearance. I've just been sipping on it occasionally.
Oh, okay.
So, but
I've been keeping my eye on Sinula.
mhm.
Laurie, I don't want to
Ethan,
embarrass you.
hmm?
Oh, go ahead.
Ethan Other just asked, "Do you know why there's a door here in the cathedral?" He must mean the one that's separating us from the book. Uh, Honestly, I've never thought to ask that particular question. I believe that it's just a, a bit of theatrics. In other words, the door opens and it's a grand reveal of the hall and the book pedestal beyond it.
Well, Kadesh would have led tours through there as well, wouldn't he? And maybe he wanted a closed-off staging area before everyone ran down to the end and linked through the book.
Well, it's basically it's theater. Now this is just a guess on my part, of course, but I do believe that it's basically just a way of impressing people. When they arrive, they're in this chamber that kind of introduces them to the architecture. But then they have to go through these doors to get the full effect. So it's basically like the curtains coming up on a stage. Okay, anyway, now that we are in Ahnonay, this sphere was nicknamed Water Ahnonay by explorers. It's supposed to be the Garternay of the past when the Ronay lived there. When first built, the sphere was devoid of animal life. Kadesh most likely planted the trees that we find here today, but there were no quabs and there was no grass. As it turned out, quabs are actually native of the age of Ahnonay. Over the centuries since the fall of Denis, the spheres, which were once sealed against the outside and did not permit anyone to get in, or anything to get in, have become worn, and the seams have basically opened up in places. That's allowed invasive life into the sphere that was never here before. The grass seeds and the quabs are an example of that. It was previously believed, and in previous tours I said, that Kadesh had placed them in the sphere, but that's not true at all. In fact, having them there while giving tours to other Denis would have made the weight-based rotation trigger of the sphere unpredictable, and Kadesh would not have permitted it. The trees that you see in this age are another story. An early explorer dubbed them Terrose trees from the Denis word ter, meaning tree, and the English word rose because of the color of their leaves. And now there is a possibility that we might know their Denis name. There is a phrase in words that might describe them. It says, "Like the lelum they grow, expanding in size but lessening in thickness." Since the tree trunks are thick at the bottom and get thinner as you go up, and the branches and leaves make the overall tree spread out, they could be a match for the description in the quote. This is, of course, a guess on my part that has not been confirmed or denied by the DRC, quote unquote. The lagoon is surrounded by the main island, and there's a clock tower in the center. This also served a second secret purpose. It's a sophisticated pressure gauge that Kadesh used to check if any extra weight was on either of the two islands. The measurement of the weight was accomplished by dividing the island up into 25 sections that radiate outward from the clock tower, and the sections are placed atop pressure-sensitive plates. That, by the way, this is information that has been confirmed by the DRC. So we now know that it is definite that the clock tower is measuring weight on sections of the island. On the face of the clock are, in counterclockwise orders, the numbers 1 through 25 and a book symbol. The numbers and the single hand were normal for this type of Denis clock. The numbers represent partavoti, the Denis equivalent of hours. There were 25 partavoti to the Denis day. It's interesting to note that Denis clocks ran the opposite direction of Earth's surface clocks. Clockwise to a Denis would be counterclockwise to us. The lighted sections that you see just inside the numbers on the clock are, of course, the weight indicators. Anytime a light appears, it means that there's something holding down or weighting a section of the island. The clock is arranged by the numbers, by the way, so that Kadesh would know the general direction to find whoever was providing pressure on that particular plate. The smaller island held controls for water Ahnonay, and they were inside a structure that could not be opened from the outside. Kadesh probably had a private linking book to get to its interior, which Yisha would have removed when she set up her version of the Path of the Shell. Kadesh designed pumps that created fierce currents to keep people from discovering the trickery of the sphere. Inside of the tower, there is a large valve that controls the water currents, allowing him to turn them off and inspect the sphere when there were no visitors. They were always turned on when he was expecting guests. The last thing Kadesh wanted was for a visitor to get out on the water and see that the town in the distance was made up of painted backdrops on mesh screens. There is one thing inside the tower I don't know if anyone has ever noticed, but if you look at the gauges up on the walls of the tower, they are written using Roman numerals rather than Denis. That suggests that when Yisha renovated the quest, or the tower for the quest, and got all the machinery working again, she may have had to replace those gauges, and did so by getting some from the surface. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Please. I noticed that the design of the clock tower is very interesting. Like, why would it have that pendulum-like ball at the bottom? It sort of implies that it pivots, at the top. Or is it some sort of magnetic connection between the ball of the, at the bottom of the clock and then the ball that it's sitting atop? It's just very It seems unnecessary unless it has some practical purpose.
It's probably something much simpler than that. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's just decorative. In other words, it's something to keep because it looks good to have something in the middle. See, I don't see any sign, and it's been a while since I last went and looked up at that thing up close, but actually, let me check something here. On the stream, I'm opening up some slides, and let's go ahead and advance.
By the way, I still think that's a spy camera.
Okay, so here we have a close-up. It doesn't really show the ring below the clock very well, but I don't really see anything that suggests that the clock itself or the pendulum below it was designed to move. The ring itself, below appears to just be a connection between the three pillars. And so I don't believe that's a pendulum. I believe, I think it's pretty much just a decoration.
But then again, the sphere does rotate. I'm sorry for beating a dead horse, and I don't want to slow down the tour.
Anyway, I'll go ahead and go back to that other one. That's a close-up of the clock itself, and I brightened up the image so that you can see everything that's on it clearly. Okay. Anyway, Murphak, can you warp us all over to the maintenance room? Thank you. So, stabilizing the clock when the sphere rotates, that's a possibility. But on the other hand, the sphere itself remains level as it rotates. So that's an open question. Okay. This is Maintenance Room 1. There are individual maintenance rooms for each of the 4 spheres, and these rooms are located in the shafts that go from the spheres to the central hub that the entire machine rotates around. You'll see that what I'm talking about, of course, later in the tour. Inside, in addition to the mechanisms that actually maintain the water, although much of this stuff in here has not yet been explained, farther back, inside, behind the entrance chamber, there is another room in which we have what look like water pipes running through. But the main feature here is a hatch. This hatch, if it were open, would go into the central hub, where there is a room, and of course we will be going into that later. Something that I'll point out again later on is that this hatch functions something like an airlock. There is one hatch for the sphere itself and one hatch for the central hub, and they're just inside of one another. That's so that when the spheres rotate, there's no danger of anyone specifically Kadesh, since he's the only one who ever went in here. But there would be no danger of anyone falling out into the outside world. Okay. I don't think so, but I have a question for Larry about them. What's that?
Well, I think Mindwalker and I have the same question.
Mm-hmm.
Those four paddle-like objects and the entrance to this area, do those make the currents, or are they boat docks?
I haven't seen they have not yet, or they haven't or haven't yet sent me any charts about this the place, so I don't have an answer to that one. The thing about it is that we don't really see anything move in the maintenance room, in the outer maintenance room. So, while it might have something to do with the water currents outside, that's something that's still up in the air.
Well, yeah, because it would be kind of like, does the light stay on the refrigerator when you close the door? Theoretically, we can't be in this room unless we've turned off the currents first.
That's
because
correct.
We couldn't have swum here.
Putro asked, what did Kadesh do to the workers to keep this place secret? And the answer is unknown. We don't know if he actually built this place himself, which seems unlikely given the scale of it. But very likely that he simply paid the workers very, very, very well to keep their mouths shut. And he had the money to do that. Yep. Genghis Khan was just a little more bloodthirsty than average. We'll put it that way. Yeah. In any case, let's see what 12:44. Yeah, we need to move on. Okay, Murphak, if you can please take us to sphere number 2. Theo, that's as good a theory as any. Say, there's more than one form of bribery after all. Of course, he didn't have to keep the secret for very long, since by the time this place was in full operation, they weren't all that far away from the fall of Denis, and that after that, it wasn't a problem.
If you all heard that grinding noise, a little later we're going to see what causes that.
Okay. And the second, okay, we don't have the crystals here, but this sphere is also, the grass that we find here is also an invasive species that came from outside. that's another story, Theo, who was saying it was never in full operation because Sphere 4 was never completed. It was in the public parts were in full operation. But I'll be talking about Sphere 4, number 4 when we get there. Now, this is where we get some more new information. Sphere number 2 was nicknamed Misty Ahnonay by explorers. It was meant to represent Garternay in the present. The grass found here is also an invasive species from the outside world. When you first see the sphere, it contains crystalline structures, and I'll go ahead and put a picture of it up in the stream. Once I get past all of these pictures of quabs I have in here for some reason. Okay. Here we go. The early explorers dubbed these Ning Trees because they resemble lightning bolts in shape. It was previously thought that they were a deliberate inclusion in the age, but the DRC gave me a correction. The Ning Trees look a bit like lightning bolts because they are the result of lightning strikes, burning the sand and creating the crystalline tree-like growths. They are similar, sort of like an inverted fulgurite or lightning sand crystal. That also explains why they're so easy to break. Real fulgurite is also incredibly fragile. It explains why they are always set in small craters in the rock of the island, and why they don't reform after breaking. As it turns out, the lightning that you see in this age, or in this sphere, I should say, was not intentional on the part of, or if it was, it had unintended results. So those fulgurite crystals would not have been here when Kadesh was running the place. Let me go ahead and write the name of these in chat real quick. Now, one of the things that was not made clear to me is whether or not the lightning strikes or the lightning activity is meant to be in the background by Kadesh, or if it's a malfunction in the sphere. That's something I do not know as yet. But the point is that no, he never. He was walking through here and bringing people here, so he would not have wanted lightning strikes on the island. The tower in this sphere had little purpose for Kadesh. Excuse me. Except for continuity. While he built the same framework inside it, it's bare of anything else, and he probably never went back inside it after it was built. The control room, or maintenance room, in this age also had little interest for Kadesh once he had built the place. There was really no reason for him to go to it, for the most part. If he did, he would have gotten to it from his office. Let's see. Yisha, on the other hand, used it as a journey stop during her quest, of course. Okay, do we have any questions about this sphere?
I think you've answered them already.
Okay. In that case, we are ready to go to sphere number 3. Oh yes, I didn't mention that, but the clock tower serves no purpose in this age, although it still maintains the mechanism of the pressure plates. But that was again, that was just so that Kadesh could know that all of the guests he had brought into the age had been evacuated before he left himself.
Or refresh my memory. Do the crystals have weight that are detected by the?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
That's why you have to break them all.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, but I didn't want to spoil anything. But I think we all know.
See. And here we are. This sphere was nicknamed Space Ahnonay by explorers. Kadesh told visitors that this was Garternay in the future. He probably also told them that it was his powers as the grower that was providing them with air to breathe. As I mentioned before, there was a lot of P.T. Barnum in Kadesh, and he must have relied on fast-talking to distract visitors from realizing that there's far too little in the way of debris here for an entire planet, and that for the island to remain more or less intact without a planet under it would have been impossible. Grass can also be found in this sphere, and again, it's an invasion from grass native to the age outside. One of the more prominent features of the sphere are the rings around the island. And, Murphak, if you can, do you have a platform that you can take us out so that we can see them in the complete ring system? While we're waiting for Murphak to work his magic, I'm going to put up an image on the stream.
Even the clock tower floats in midair.
Yeah, he left it in here for continuity. Now, one of the things that also does not make sense, given the lack of gravity that there would be, is the fact that there are rings around the island. But before you go thinking that it's completely far-fetched, It's not as impossible or outlandish as it might seem. Here in the solar system, there is an object that has been classed as either a large asteroid or a minor planet, named Chariklo, and it has 2 rings around it. It's about 250 kilometers or 160 miles in diameter, and it's the smallest known celestial body to have a ring system. Now that's a lot bigger than excuse me, I'm tripping over my own tongue yet again. Sphere 4, but it's a celestial object with rings that is smaller than most of the countries on Earth. And I have a picture, or an artist's impression of Chariklo up on the stream at the moment.
Is this information that Cyan gave you recently?
About Chariklo? No, that's something I looked up on my own. Okay, let's put the slide away.
Y'all might have to switch to first-person view to see the rings.
Let me go ahead and do that. So, if I can. Oh. I keep losing focus. There we go. The rings, of course, are running vertically over the island, so you have to look up when you're there to see them, or out to either side. Anathia is asking about the significance to the symbols on the pillars, and the answer to that is we don't know. These are from my mind's going blank. Oh, Jalak. These are from Jalak, and very little is known about Jalak. Except, of course, that the word Jalak means pillar.
By the way, if you come here to Meribot's Ahnonay, you can use the, his bot commands, and these floating rocks are solid. Or at least some of them are.
Okay. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this particular sphere, unless we have any more questions. That's correct. Jamie's noting that the pillars are not part of Ahnonay, and that's they are from the age of Jalak. In order to give us something solid to stand on, Murphak imports the pillars in order to get to build platforms. Otherwise, we'd all be falling and wind up in Relto. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so if you would please, Murphak, let's go to sphere number 4.
And thank you, Murphak, so much for all your hard work with these tours. You are awesome.
Well, the birds you just heard, of course, were imported by Susan.
Yes. Yes, Kadesh cannot take credit for those. He's lying in his vault. He can't take credit for my budgies. Although he probably would have loved to have them in water, Ahnonay.
The interior of the fourth sphere was not completed before Denis fell, but it was going to be Kadesh's monument to himself. The platform in this sphere is laid out in the same way as the others, but is covered by gear and sphere themes that are representative of the age. Since the interior was never intended to be seen by guests, Kadesh was quite open with his symbology. Because it's unfinished, we don't know what it was intended to look like. However, the platform here is built in the shape of the islands in the other spheres, and there's a side platform in the position of the small island with a bridge leading to it. But there are many more frameworks and platforms, so he might have had big plans for it. There is water in the bottom of this sphere, although it's shallow and brackish when compared to the first sphere. The pond scum is undoubtedly another invasion from outside. Murphek, if you could please put a platform down near the bottom of the statue so that we can see that. The statue itself is, of course, a likeness of Kadesh. It's covered in geometric shapes and numbers. If you look down at the base of the statue, which we should be able to soon, there are gears and wheels down there that appear to have been intended to move the statue in some manner. It probably revolved, but there are other gears that appear to have allowed it to tilt back and forth. So here we are down near the bottom, and you can see, if you look down, the water with the bracken and the pond scum in it. And then, of course, you can see the various gears and mechanisms that are down here for whatever purpose that Kadesh was going to use them for, which unfortunately we don't know. Whatever the mechanism is, you can see that it was still being constructed at the when the Denis fell. And then I'm going to put up another slide.
I'm sorry I wasn't watching the stream. Did you point your point of view down to look at the pond contamination?
Yes.
The water contamination? Okay.
By the way, I'm cycling through a couple of pictures on the stream, and I just paused to stop with one. This is a view from the entrance of the maintenance room in this sphere. Showing some of the mechanisms and construction platforms and scaffolding that's scattered all over this sphere. See, here's a shot downwards towards the water. And here's a shot from above the statue.
I can imagine there's some wrenches and hammers down there.
Maybe.
Bolts. It's probably solid, Jamie, because Merrifac added his on lake command.
That I couldn't say. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay. Let's go ahead and take the slideshow off. Okay. Okay, now if you can please take us back up to the main platform, the island platform. Theo, I don't think it's normally solid. I've explored the thing on my own, and don't remember that small platform down there being something you could stand on. Okay, now we're going to take a jog over and take a look at the small island in this sphere.
Or you can wait for Larry to get there and PM find Larry to Mirabot. Oh, look. A geolac pillar. Thank you, Merrifac.
That's actually, I believe, I had asked him if he could build a bridge over to the maintenance room. So that should be, I think, what that platform is for.
Well, there's a lot of people going down it. Did you go to the...
No, that's not where we're going at the moment.
Okay. Everyone PM find... Are you there, Larry? Should we...
Actually, not quite yet. I'm stuck on something.
Okay, get off the column.
Yeah.
Back to the...
Okay. And I can't see where I'm going at the moment.
Yeah, I'm one of the cats that needs to be herded, apparently.
Okay, here we go.
We're going to where the tower is, right?
Yep. This is the small... okay, I'm here now, so you can use Find Larry to get here. You can see a framework was being constructed in the place where the tower would be, off of the islands in Water and Misty Ahnonay. So he was going to put a representation of it here, and of course that of course was never finished. Oh, thank you for the light. Actually, Jamie, it's no accident, and it's not amazing at all that he got the spaces so similar. This was very, very deliberate. In order to link from the Ahnonay Cathedral to the interior of each sphere, the spot where you link to had to be exactly the same from one sphere to the next. That's due to another limitation of Denis writing. In other words, you have to, every time a sphere rotates, it puts a solid surface at the exact right position under your feet for you to link to it. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. And then I had asked Murrowbot. Yeah, Jamie, that's right. It was extremely careful design and it's why he had to set things up in a certain way. Now, he didn't have to make that landing spot exactly be on the exact same type of thing. In other words, the fact that he put an island, a version of the island, in this sphere was a design choice rather than a necessity. There could have just been a landing pad, and it would have worked just the same. Yes, the Denis definitely had blueprints, and I don't recall if we actually have. Actually, if Korovev is here. Do you remember whether or not we actually have a Denis word for something like a blueprint? For some reason, I'm thinking there was.
Is someone taking the chair ride? Come back
Okay,
to
I
the
may be
group,
mistaken
please.
in that then. Now, there is definitely a Denis word for guidebook. So the cat, but I don't. For some reason, I thought there was, but the cat, like I said, I'm probably mistaken. Okay. Let's see. Where do I get off? Okay. Yeah, it's probably because I know the word for for a guidebook that I was thinking that. Also, I may be mistaking it for the words for chart or map. Now, let's see if I can get back over without falling. Okay, here. Okay. Whoops. Oh, do you have an on lake here? Okay, because I thought I was about to fall and link out. Okay. Just to keep anyone else from running into the problem that I did, can you warp us all back over to the main island? Because I tried to get there and couldn't see anything and fell. Okay, let's see. I'll try this again. Okay. Too freaking dark in this place. Okay, there we go. That's where I want to be. Okay, now, what we should have over here is a bridge, hopefully, to the maintenance room. So let's see if it's all the way over there yet.
It's probably best for us to wait till you get there, and we'll do another Find Larry.
Well, these pillars, of course, are safe enough to walk on. This is something new again that we're trying this year. Is making this bridge so that we can walk over to the maintenance room. Yeah, look, it does look like it goes all the way.
This area where the tower is so dark. I always have to be careful not to fall off.
Yep, I did.
Oh, and there I go. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can W Mirabot. Oh, okay.
Speaking out of character for a moment. Sphere 1 and this Sphere 4 are the only two where there's actually access to the maintenance room from inside the sphere, which is strange because normally you can't possibly get here. But here we are. I am now in Sphere number 4.
Yeah, PMing W to Mirabot works too.
Actually, he was up on a separate pillar over the island, the side island.
But he's here now in the maintenance room.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah, I had to W him because I fell off the structure.
Forgot your own instructions to find Larry, huh?
Yeah, I did. Well, it's anyway.
Okay.
I'm old.
Aren't we all? Okay.
Is there anyone who's not here in the maintenance room with us?
Okay, we're all going to walk back to the back area of the maintenance room. And here, the hatches are open into the hub. What I want you to notice as we're walking through, in case you never have before, is that we have the one hatch for the sphere itself, which is open. And then you'll notice that halfway through, there is a break between two sections. You'll notice a lot of rivets going around that area. And then when you get to the other side and look, you will find that there is a matching hatch which is open from the inside of the hub. So those are the points where the sphere meets up with the arm that goes out to the sphere, which it holds the maintenance room, is meeting up with the central hub.
And that information is riveting.
You do know that they shoot people for less. And when we get in, you'll be able to look around and see why gears feature so prominently in all of the symbology that Kadesh had about this age. Oh, there is one thing that I was going to talk about, and I kind of got ahead of it. I put it in the wrong place in my speech order. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the chat or the stream window slideshow again, and let's get past Spheres 4. Oh, okay, I lost track of where it is. Let's see. Oh, that would have been all the way back at Sphere 1. Yeah, I really got this out of order.
Well, while Larry's clicking through photos, I want to embarrass him by opining that his idea to broadcast through Twitch is just brilliant. It's really added a completely new flavor to these tours.
And you are entirely correct, Susan. That is embarrassing.
Oh, I thought you would say it's correct that I'm brilliant. That you're brilliant.
Okay. Anyway, the image that I now have up on the stream shows some artwork from Ederkima. This is one of a set of baroglyphs depicting Ahnonay. And one of the unanswered questions about the glyphs involves a species of fish seen in them. I've learned that the depictions are of a species that were nicknamed firds, from the word fish bird, another Ahnonay native species that primarily lives in the Cascade outside the sphere machine. Like flying fish found on Earth, firds have sail-like fins that allow them to ride the air currents around the falls so that they never quite reach the bottom, wherever that might be. Like some species of catfish, they have a suction cup on their underside which enables them to cling to rocks when they aren't sailing the falls in search of plankton and small insects to eat. So that's another mystery that has finally been explained, just what those fish are that are shown in the baroglyphs. Okay, and now, as I mentioned before, this is the hub room. It's a room inside the central hub that the four spheres revolve around. Many gears of immense size are used to rotate the spheres, and also to keep them level when they do. The large viewer here shows the interior of the sphere, which is in the active position. And the active position is known to be on one of the horizontal lines, which is why we're able to walk through a corridor into the hub room.
Excuse me, would you please take the photo off of Twitch?
Oh, I forgot. I thought I did. Sorry about that. Here we go. There we go. And now I'm looking through somebody else's glasses, but... Let me back up a bit. Here we go. Now, so that means that when the spheres rotate, this picture changes to whatever sphere is actually active. And also, one of the great things about being inside this room when the spheres rotate is that you get to see the machinery work. Murphak, if you could please, let's rotate the sphere. And watch all the gears around you. And since sphere number 1 is the next up in the rotation, it becomes the active sphere, and that's what we see inside of the viewer. And again, please, Murphak. See, and then we now have Myst Ahnonay up because it was sphere number 2. One more time, please, while I switch over here and look at those gears, which are right above us. Oops. And now there's space Ahnonay. Keep winding up with a head in front of me. Oops. Okay. And then one last time to get us back to sphere 4.
Sphere 1? You mean water? Oh, 4. Sorry about that.
That's something I don't know.
It's not live. If someone's down there, you don't see them. It's just a still picture. Although I'm sorry, Larry. I'm answering your question. Go ahead.
That's fine. I was about to say pretty much the same thing. I don't remember if I've ever... I'm pretty sure, though, that we've conducted experiments and not seen anyone running inside the sphere. Yeah. So it's just an image that's put up...
And this is yet another reason I think he has spy cameras in the cathedral. But I'm beating a dead horse.
To the bone. Okay, now the next step in the journey to beyond here is a device that's been nicknamed the Vogondola. It's a magnetic levitation vehicle that was used to transfer a passenger between the sphere machine and Kadesh's office. It travels from the sphere machine to a cage with sails on it, and then across a gap to another maglev track. It terminates below the office, which was excavated into a rock sphere. And I'm going to show pictures on the stream because we can't actually do this in the game since it can only handle one person at a time, and that would completely gum up the works. So let's get past all these guys. Oh, I bet. Went too far. No, take that back. Okay, here's a look at the cage with the sails on it, which is used to move you on a portion of the journey past the waterfall, or the cascade as it was called. And a view of it from the side. Oh, here we go. So we wind up with this seat, which is also the control seat for the Vogondola itself. And when we go down, this is actually the Vogondola itself that the seat drops into. Now, when you look at this, you'll notice that the track that you go through is actually about 4 times as wide as the Vogondola itself. Korovov is asking, can you actually see the Vogondola from the outside? And the answer is no. This is a false texture that I put on it in order to make the thing visible. It has no surface when seen from the outside. And the point, and the Vogondola itself, when it's moving, is also in. The animation only happens for the person on the ride. You cannot see it move from the outside. But the Vogondola, as you can see, is suspended between a set of rings and bars, which form a magnetic levitation track. Yeah, I'd dearly love to be able to show you the Vogondola getting into the sail cage and moving across the gap. That would be something to see. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. And here's another view of the Vogondola track from inside the car. And here we are in the sail cage. More pictures of that. The sail cage has what looks like 3 paddles on one side of it, but as yet I don't know what those paddles are for. However, the sails are the main means of locomotion because there's no electricity being supplied to it. Instead, it catches a downdraft alongside the cascade and uses that and the sails in order to go from one side of the gap to the other. Here's a view of the Vogondola track from the outside going up to the sphere machine. It terminates, as you should be able to see in the photograph, it terminates at the hub. And then also in this view, you can see the 4 arms that contain the maintenance rooms, which are going out from the hub room to the sphere.
Caver's asking if the gondola chair is the only chair with a back in Uru. The only
No,
functioning
that's not.
chair, or
No, that's not true. That isn't quite true. But let's see if I remember correctly. In the offices in
the Baron's office.
Teledon and the Baron City office, those also have backs on them. Say, and I don't remember any place else where there are chairs off the top of my head. But it's like my contention that the Denis must have had bird DNA in their background someplace, because they have all sorts of walkways that are way the hell off the ground without safety rails. Apparently, there was not a Denis who was afraid of heights. Okay, and that's for a future topic. Okay.
Although there are safety rails outside this control room.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and we're done in here unless we have any more questions.
I think our time is okay. It's we have another 22 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next stop is going to be the office, which we will warp to, since, like I said, trying to use the Vogondola would take up the next 3 hours for a group like this. So if you could please, Murphac, take us to the office. Koravov is noting that the new Guild of Messengers pub has chairs with backs. Something I was thinking about mentioning but didn't is that if you ever look at the original pub and can see the chairs and the seating nooks there, those also were padded with backs and armrests. There is one fan age which actually has those chairs fleshed out, and you can sit in them. Korovev does fan age tours, and he's probably covered that one, or will if he hasn't already. He does those tours. Korovev, you do the tours on Sunday?
By the way, Korovev, if you don't know, belongs to the Guild of Messengers. So if you have any questions about that guild, you can probably contact him.
True, but the Korovev is saying is he doesn't do the same level of intensity that we do here in the Cavern Tour, but then his tours are a completely different concept and are excellent nonetheless. The point behind his tours is that he's showing you all the features of various fan ages and also walking you through all the puzzles in the ones that have them. So if you've never been, you can find his tours on YouTube. Can you give us your YouTube channel? If not, then Minnesunda definitely puts them up. And they're well worth attending if you have the shard that he uses. I believe you use Deep Island, don't you? So if you haven't installed the Deep Island Shard, you can look that up. And like I said, if you attend one of Korovev's tours, there's no doubt whatsoever that you'll have a lot of fun. Okay, so Minasunda is the one who has the videos of his tours. Anyway, getting back to biz. The office area that we are inside is burrowed into a large rock outcropping where it is protected from the water. And let's see if I can bring that up. Come to think of it, because I have an outside view of this. Let's see. Here we go. So in the picture that I have up on the stream right now, you'll see the sail car in the foreground. There's it's up against a rock where the maglev track starts up again, and then just beyond it, there's another larger outcropping, and that's where we are right now.
Thank you, Korovov.
The antechamber where we are right now was used as sleeping quarters for Kadesh when he was working in the Age. The purpose of the machine that's to the immediate left, that would be this one over here with the gear shapes on the top of it, has not been explained. However, the second machine is a locking mechanism for the door to his office. And I will bring up... At one point, Yisha had one of her papers up on the wall. Let's see, it's not here at the moment, so I will bring that up. I believe that was one of the previous pictures. Yes, here we go. So here's a view of this room as it was when it was part of Yisha's Path of the Shell. And you'll notice that over on the right-hand side, there is a paper on the wall with numbers on it. And that, of course, was the telling you where to look in Words of the Watcher for the passage she wanted you to read. Susan just wrote that the bed looks uncomfortable, and Susan, I will point you to the Edertomanti in the Great Shaft, which had stone beds, and
yes.
tell you to think again.
Yeah, you wake up with a crook in your neck.
Say, compared to that bed is the height of luxury. The next room beyond is Kadesh's office, where he, for when he was working here in the Age. And it's from this room that we first get an inkling of the trickery that he used to convince the Denis that he was the grower. The Baro tablet that you find here, of course, was placed by Yisha for her version of the Path of the Shell, and links to the Baro Hourglass Cave. There was once a couple of other things here, which have been removed since that time. There was once a timer on the one of the shelves, which was, and along with a note that she left, gave you a clue as to how to figure out how to drop pellets into the Hourglass Cave when you were doing it on your own. Those, of course, were removed when the method was changed.
Speaking out of character, if I could, if you come here in Maribot's age, you can use the bot. That note is floating in midair below this area.
I wonder if I have... hang on just a sec. I'm going to take a quick look. Because I might have a picture of it.
It cracks me up that his table's made out of gears.
Well, he liked his symbology. What can you say? Okay, no, I don't have it in my pictures at the moment. Otherwise, I'd show you. Okay. And, Jamie, we're going to do you one better. In any case, okay, so now we're going to start talking about the sphere machine. Murphek, can you transfer us out there? Yeah, that timer was fun to play with. So it is kind of a shame that they took that away.
Sorry, Harry. Here.
Oh, if you have your platform constructed, can you take us out to the sphere machine?
Someone was also requesting a close-up of the waterfall, but I think this is as close as we can get today,
No.
right, Larry?
Oh no, we're going out there. We just have to wait for Murphak to get himself set up. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you another little tidbit that was shared with me by the quote-unquote DRC. The sphere machine is the dominant feature of the age. And its proper name is the Orb Orbiter, although that's suspected to be a DRC nickname. So, and I'll type that out for you. That's how it's spelled, but yes, it is the Orb Orbiter. And that is the official name for the machine.
Oh, by the way, do we happen to know if Rawa helped to design this age?
He hasn't gotten back to me in some time. He was going through a very, very bad time for a while there, and I haven't heard from him recently. He described it as COVID hell. Pretty much at least half of his family had caught it. So
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so when you add that in with all the other troubles that he and his family have been going through, it's been a pretty bad, sad time for them. Okay. And here, somebody was asking to see the machine in operation. How do you like it up close and personal? Now, you will notice that there is a water wheel down near the base of the machine. And that has been confirmed to be the primary source of power to rotate the spheres, even though they may not have animated it for this view, because you're supposed to see this sort of thing from the office, and from that far away, it wasn't necessary to animate that.
So, dumb question. Where exactly is the
Active
room
sphere?
with
Oh.
the room with the images?
Okay.
Like,
See
I'm-
see that
yeah.
tube with the diamond shapes on it,
Yes,
made up
yes,
of two
that-
triangles.
yeah,
that's
that's the
the Vogondola
Vogondola
track.
right.
Follow that up, and it terminates at the hub room.
Okay.
And then from the hub room, each sphere has an arm going out to it off of the hub room, and that's where the 4 maintenance rooms are. So when you get to the wall of the sphere and enter the maintenance room, you're going into one of those arms. Now, one thing which still remains a mystery is that it is not known which of the 2 spheres on the horizontal plane is the active one. It could be either, since there's nothing on their exterior that's marked. Okay, where are we? I'm looking up.
Oh, there we go. So there's the diamond pattern leading horizontally to the...
And as you see the spheres rotate
Imager
here,
room.
you'll notice that they remain level and then come into line with the horizontal arms. And that's why they have the 2 hatches on there, because there are times when those doors either open up. Well, the interior door in the sphere would open up into midair, and of course the maintenance room door is always going to be up against the sphere itself. Anyway, since the exteriors of the spheres are not marked in any way, we don't know which sphere is which, and therefore we can't determine which sphere is active. From what I was told, even though we can't really see it, there are all sorts of gaps and cracks in the seams of the spheres, and that the animals and plants manage to get in through those. Susan, no, he did not. The only plant that we can be reasonably certain that is in Kadesh included is the trees in the first sphere. And that's something I had mentioned earlier. That I couldn't tell you. Again, that's not something that's ever come up, and I've never really thought about it. The only thing I can think of is that, well, there's lights all along here, and it's possible that those lights may be an indicator that a given section is getting power. But that's just a guess. Again, nobody else has ever asked that question before.
Forgive me if you've answered this or explained this. Do we know where the source of the waterfalls is?
No. when this age was made, it seems like Kadesh, it's either built on a world which is... now, here's a possibility. The world itself may be dark. In other words, no sunlight. And all the lights out here are what's providing the light that we can see the machine by. But we don't know the cascade itself. We don't know where it comes from or where it's going. That's just terra incognita. But we do know now that there is wildlife in this place. Okay. And here you get a close-up. And by the way, speaking out of character, you'll have to ignore the gap between the spheres and the cross arms. That was explained to me that because we were never actually intended to see the machine up this close, they simply didn't draw it that tightly, or to model it that tightly, I should say.
Well, I think it's just so cool that Cyan enabled us to see the sphere rotation from the control room.
Mm-hmm. They put in details like this that are completely and utterly unnecessary all the time. And that's one of the things that makes them such a great company.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that is the end of every my prepared material. And so at this point, we're just going to let Murphak do his thing and play around in here so that we can and show us the things from different angles.
Did you get to Shiloh's question?
Which was?
About the water being liquid if there's no sun. I think we're getting kind of deep, but you'll probably have an answer.
Me? Absolutely not. So again, it's not a question that's ever come up before. But
maybe it's warm with no sun.
Yeah, but the point that, or maybe, yeah, that's entirely possible, or maybe that we're eternally covered in clouds or something. The point is that we just don't know what the outside world is like beyond the cascade. If one was inside a sphere during the rotation, would you feel it? Probably not, because there was never any real reason for Cyan to have any animation for that.
I guess the question is, would a guest or would Kadesh feel it if you were inside?
Now, you do hear it, definitely.
Yeah.
But the point is that the jiggling that the sphere does when it stops here, there wasn't any reason for that to be modeled for people inside the spheres.
Wow, Larry, this is quite an incredible tour. Thank you so much to you and Murphak for making this happen.
No problem. Or, well, none you have to concern yourselves with.
Yeah, I know you did. There's a lot of work you put into it behind the scenes. Should I give announcements then?
Yes, indeed. And I'm going to do something that I started doing during your absence, which is, let's see, here we go. If you look at the tour window, we have a cheat sheet that I am shamelessly stealing from Minnesota.
Oh, well, that helps me too. Thank you for being shameless. But at least you gave her credit. Yeah, our next tour for next month is regularly scheduled for Saturday, December 11th, 11 a.m. key time. Meet in Cavern Tours Hood. And the events there are right on your Twitch screen. Today's events. Story night at 1400 key time in Sano's Hood. Karaoke at 1600 in the New Messengers Pub. And another story night at 2330 key time in Sano's Hood. Sometimes Arte's story night are the same story at both times, and sometimes they're a week off.
Yeah, I did.
And Cora, oh, go ahead, Larry.
I was just saying, Minnesota thought that tells me that stealing her schedule is a great idea, and I was just saying we were doing it without that before, and it finally hit me. I could be showing this instead of Susan having to type it out.
Yeah, I would. Fortunately, I have this keymail from the Guild of Messengers. It's called Events. The keymail is dated June 3rd, 2017, and bless their hearts, the Guild of Messengers has been updating this every month for all these years, 4.5 years, and that's what I've always been reading off of, but with more difficulty than reading it off your stream, Minnesenda's list.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesenda, do you have any more of those dance shows in the works? We always love those Nope dance shows. Oh, great. And I'm assuming, Minnesota, you're going to be publishing your annual quest to find the marker quest, to find all the, what's it called? The, oh, there's a word for it. It starts with an A, I think. Advent. The Advent marker quest, where you have to find all the markers, one per day, leading up to Christmas. That's always fun to do, pop all the bubbles.
Angel Mist, remember, these are now being stored. I don't think my Facebook stream worked today for some reason, but on YouTube, if you look up Larry Fontenot, let me spell that for you. If you look up that name on YouTube, I have all of the tours past a certain point posted. So you can go back and watch this one.
What's the likelihood you're going to have that encore tour in January?
At this point, it's not an encore tour. If I do another tour past next month, then it will be to cover some of the ages in Myst 5 that we haven't touched on. But I was thinking that in the future, I would use that sort of thing as fillers for when material for days when we either have time left over or when we can't do the normal tour for some reason.
One thing that we're going to have to consider, Larry, and I want to let everyone know, Korovev said that the AGM for January is regularly scheduled for Saturday, January 1st. Obviously, they're considering bumping it to January 8th. Did I say August? January 1st. They're considering, of course, bumping it to January 8th, in which case the tour would then be probably the third Saturday.
Actually, I believe we had this conversation before, and I thought they had agreed to change the hour that they were going to start.
So still have the EGM on January 1st, but change the time of day?
Well, no, I mean if it's on the same Saturday, second Saturday.
Oh, I see. Have the AGM immediately precede the Cavern Tour.
Correct.
For example.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be because the thing is that everyone now knows that we host these things at 11 o'clock. So getting word out for that would be very hard.
Yeah. So we would still, so if you have the additional tour, it would be on Saturday, January 8th at 11 a.m.
But I forget.
time.
But actually, there's no reason. When I stop to think about it, there's no reason why I should have to conflict with them, since it would be an irregular tour.
Yeah, but people would probably like to attend both the AGM and your tour.
But
and your tour.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
So it's one of those things, because, like I said, we can avoid a conflict one way or another.
Yeah, but your tour, it would only be on Twitch, right?
That's correct.
The tour yeah.
Because while they've got, I believe, the Myst 5, I think the Myst 5 H's are on the Minkata shard. I can't get into that. For some reason, my password doesn't work anymore, or whatever the heck. But the point is that I can't go into that shard, and that's about the only place where and people would have to install it and set up accounts and all that kind of crap. So that so basically, running the tour with a live tour group just isn't practical.
Okay. So more information next month, I assume.
Not until they finally get around to importing the Myst 5 Ages into live. At that point, all bets are off.
That would be nice if they'd import them. Anywho, just wanted to explore all the possibilities. Let everyone know what you're cooking up. Anyone have any final questions before we adjourn? Questions or comments? Uh-oh, I might have just crashed. The music stopped. Yep, I just crashed. I don't know, did you crash, Larry?
No, actually, I'm still on, because I just sent a PM.
Okay, I can see what's happening in the cavern.
Yeah.
I said adjourn, and Cyan took me literally. Thank you, everyone, again. Signing out of Skype.
Okay. And at this point, we're going into playtime, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thanks to everyone for attending this second to last official tour. And I hope to see you all again next month. Also, again, a big shout out to Murphak, without whom none of this would be possible. It's his help that makes all the magic happen. And stream is now